Every 4 years, the World Cup reveals the same truth about success. Millions watch it. Almost nobody sees it. The teams everyone expects to win aren't always the ones holding the trophy at the end. The strange thing is, the same pattern shows up in careers, businesses, fitness goals, relationships, and almost every form of success. And one of the biggest lessons hidden inside the FIFA World Cup has nothing to do with talent, confidence, or motivation. It has to do with something most people completely overlook, and once you see it, you'll start looking at success very differently. If you've ever felt like you're working hard but not getting the results you expected, if you've wondered why some people seem to keep moving forward while others stall despite having talent, this video is for you. We're going to explore the overlooked success lessons hidden inside the World Cup. Lessons backed by psychology, performance science, and real-world observation. These aren't the usual motivational cliches. They're practical ideas that can change how you approach goals, discipline, consistency, and long-term achievement. Success is usually built before anyone is watching. When people think about the World Cup, they remember the final. They remember the winning goal, the celebration, the trophy lift, the photos, but that's not where success was created. By the time a team reaches the final, most of the important work has already happened. Months of preparation, years of development, thousands of repetitions, countless decisions nobody ever saw. And this creates one of the biggest misunderstandings about success. We tend to focus on visible moments, promotions, business launches, weight loss transformations, viral videos, big achievements. But the visible event is usually just the receipt for work that happened long before. Psychologists call this outcome bias. We naturally judge success by the result rather than the process that produced it. The problem is that results arrive late, sometimes very late, which means people often quit during the exact phase where progress is actually happening. Think about learning a language. For months, it feels like nothing is changing. Then suddenly you find yourself understanding conversations. The breakthrough looks sudden. The World Cup reminds us that winning moments are public. Preparation is private, and preparation is where almost everything important happens. The teams that adapt often beat the teams that dominate. Here's something interesting. The strongest team on paper doesn't always win. History is full of favorites who entered tournaments with incredible talent and still went home early. Why? Because tournaments are unpredictable. Conditions change, opponents change, pressure changes, momentum changes, and this reveals another hidden truth about success. Adaptability often beats superiority. Many people build plans as if life will cooperate. Then, reality happens. A project takes longer. An opportunity disappears. A schedule changes. A market shifts. A family responsibility appears unexpectedly. And suddenly, the plan collapses. The people who keep moving forward aren't necessarily the smartest. They're often the most adaptable. Researchers studying resilience consistently find that psychological flexibility is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success. Not stubbornness, not perfection, flexibility, the ability to adjust without abandoning the goal. World Cup teams constantly make adjustments. Different formations, different tactics, different responses to different opponents. They don't confuse commitment to the goal with commitment to a single method, and neither should we. Because sometimes success doesn't require a new destination. It requires a new route, and that brings us to another lesson that almost nobody talks about. Momentum is more powerful than motivation. Many fans assume champions stay motivated all the time. But motivation isn't what carries a team through a tournament. Momentum does. Motivation fluctuates. Everyone experiences this. Some mornings you're energized, some mornings you're not. Some days you want to work, some days you'd rather do almost anything else. If success depended entirely on motivation, very few people would achieve much. Momentum works differently. Momentum is created through action, even small action. A 10-minute workout, one-page read, one sales call, one difficult email, one practice session. These tiny actions create psychological movement, and movement creates more movement. Behavioral scientists often refer to this as activation energy. Starting is usually harder than continuing. Once a behavior begins, resistance frequently drops. World Cup teams understand this instinctively. They focus on winning the next possession, the next pass, the next play, the next opportunity, not the entire tournament at once. Many people fail because they keep trying to feel motivated enough to begin. The successful ones often begin first and let motivation catch up later. And there's a related lesson hidden inside every championship run. Confidence is usually the result, not the cause. A lot of people are waiting to feel confident before they act. Before applying, before creating, before speaking, before starting. But confidence rarely arrives first. Think about a young player making their World Cup debut. Do you think they feel completely confident? Probably not. Most elite performers experience uncertainty. What separates them is that they act anyway. Confidence often grows from evidence. You keep promises to yourself. You build skills. You accumulate experience. You survive challenges. And gradually, confidence develops. This is one reason psychologists talk about self-efficacy rather than confidence. Self-efficacy is your belief that you can handle situations because you've handled difficult situations before. It's built through experience, not positive thinking alone. The uncomfortable truth is that many people are waiting for a feeling that only arrives after taking action. The World Cup teaches a different lesson. Action first, evidence second, confidence third, and that leads directly into one of the most misunderstood ideas about success. Discipline is not about being tough. When people hear the word discipline, they often imagine extreme routines, perfect habits, unbreakable willpower, constant intensity. But elite performance research paints a different picture. The most successful systems usually reduce friction. They make good behavior easier. World Cup teams don't rely on players making thousands of perfect decisions every day. They create structures, schedules, training systems, recovery systems, nutrition systems, communication systems. Systems reduce dependence on willpower. And this matters because willpower is limited. Researchers have repeatedly found that environment influences behavior more than most people realize. If healthy food is visible, people eat more of it. If distractions are nearby, people get distracted more often. If desired behaviors are convenient, people perform them more consistently. The lesson? Discipline isn't always about becoming stronger. Sometimes it's about becoming smarter. Building an environment that supports your goals, removing unnecessary obstacles, making the right choice easier than the wrong one. That's a lesson many people wish they learned years earlier. But there's another one that may be even more important. Nobody wins alone easily. Watch any championship celebration. You'll notice something. The spotlight may fall on one player, but success never belongs to one player. There are coaches, analysts, medical staff, teammates, families, support systems. And yet many people try to pursue success in isolation. They try to solve every problem alone, carry every burden alone, learn every lesson alone. That's not how high performance usually works. Studies consistently show that social support improves resilience, persistence, and stress management. Human beings perform better when they feel connected. This doesn't mean you need a huge network. It doesn't mean you need hundreds of friends. But it does mean success is often accelerated by the right people. The person who encourages you, challenges you, teaches you, supports you, keeps you accountable. The World Cup is a reminder that individual brilliance matters, but collective strength often matters more. And speaking of collective strength, let's talk about a hidden factor that quietly shapes nearly every outcome. Recovery is part of performance. Most people focus on effort. Very few focus on recovery. Yet recovery is where adaptation happens. Athletes don't become stronger during training. They become stronger while recovering from training. The same principle applies to mental performance. When people constantly push without rest, productivity often declines. Creativity drops. Focus weakens. Decision-making worsens. Stress increases. And eventually, burnout appears. World Cup teams understand this. They don't train at maximum intensity every waking hour. They recover strategically. Sleep, nutrition, rest, physical treatment, mental recovery. The modern world often glorifies constant activity, but high-performance science repeatedly points toward a different truth. Rest is not the opposite of productivity. It's part of productivity. The challenge is that recovery often feels unproductive in the moment, just like preparation, just like practice, just like consistency. Which brings us to perhaps the biggest lesson of all. Success is often less dramatic than we imagine. Movies make success look exciting. Social media makes success look sudden. Reality usually looks different. A little progress, repeated often, that's it. Championship teams don't win because of one magical moment. They accumulate advantages. One training session, one adjustment, one improvement, one recovery day, one good decision, one lesson learned, repeated over time. The same pattern appears almost everywhere. financial success, career growth, fitness, learning, relationships. The biggest outcomes often emerge from small actions repeated consistently, and this can actually be good news, because it means extraordinary success doesn't always require extraordinary behavior. It often requires ordinary behavior repeated longer than most people are willing to repeat it. That's not flashy, it's not exciting, but it works. And that's exactly why so many people overlook it. The real World Cup lesson. When most people watch the World Cup, they see goals, highlights, victories, trophies. But beneath all of that is a deeper story. Preparation before recognition, adaptability over rigidity, momentum over motivation, action before confidence, systems over willpower, connection over isolation, recovery as part of performance, consistency over drama. These aren't just sports lessons, they're human lessons. Because whether you're trying to improve your health, build a business, learn a skill, advance your career, or simply become a better version of yourself, the same principles keep showing up. The people who succeed aren't always the most talented. They're often the ones who stay in the game long enough for preparation, adaptation, consistency, and patience to compound. And that's something the World Cup quietly teaches every 4 years. Not just how to win, but how success is actually built. If you found this video genuinely useful, consider giving it a like. And if you enjoy practical psychology, neuroscience-backed insights, discipline, habits, and simple systems for building a better life, subscribe to Simple Ways of Life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.